What's going on, guys? Billy here, and after using a drone for over a year, you begin to learn what makes it so special. You learn what features you can't live without as you try some other options, and you learn why it becomes such an integral part of your workflow. The drone I've been using on a daily basis now for the past year has been, shocker, the DJI Mavic 2 Pro, and this drone has a special feature that I don't think any other drone currently offers, but it makes shooting cinematic video fun and helps you create a more dynamic piece. So one of my favorite things about shooting with mirrorless cameras is not only the fact that they're more compact than something like a larger DSLR, but they're also very versatile, right? So this here is my very first camera. This is my old Panasonic G7. It was the first mirrorless camera that I owned, which unfortunately doesn't have a screen on the back anymore. But you can do things like change your exposure settings through this camera. You can also change the exposure settings on the Mavic 2 Pro, of course. You actually have an adjustable aperture within this camera. So it's almost just as versatile as a mirrorless camera in terms of dialing in the exposure. But there's one thing that the mirrorless camera has that you just wouldn't be able to fit on a Mavic 2 Pro, and it is the interchangeable lenses, right? The fact that you can put so many different lenses on the front of a mirrorless camera and change the overall look of your shot. So if you want a wider shot, you can go with a wider lens. If you want a closer shot, you can go with a more telephoto lens. And that would be great to have on a drone. Now, you can get a drone that you can put different lenses on, something like an Inspire 2 with the X5S or the X7 camera, but that could cost you potentially thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars. But here's the thing. The Mavic 2 Pro actually has two lenses built into the camera when you're shooting 4K video. You might remember when this drone first came out that there was some confusion regarding the two options when shooting 4K video. You could choose from high quality or full field of view, which I covered in a previous video, but as a quick refresh, full field of view uses the full sensor to shoot 5.5K video, and then it downsamples that video to 4K, while high quality, on the other hand, uses a portion of the sensor to shoot true 4K video. High quality is supposed to give you better image quality, but the biggest difference is the fact that when shooting in full field of view, you're working with a 75-degree field of view, while you get a 55-degree field of view when shooting in high quality mode. By now, you might already have a general understanding as to why this feature is so great. It's because this one single camera basically has two lenses built into it. I don't have to do any rotating. There's no hardware that needs to be swapped. It's all built right into the software, which is great. I can go right into my DJI Go app and on the fly switch between full field of view and high quality mode. I don't need to waste time landing this drone to switch between all the different focal lengths. It's built right there into the software. Now, in a way, we're changing our focal length, right? But in reality, we're changing the way that the sensor shoots. We're changing the field of view, which isn't as good as just being able to slap on a different lens in the front because it's not going to be your best option. But for a drone of this size, and especially a camera of this size, having this feature to lean on really does make shooting cinematic video a lot more interesting. Now, the way that I use this to my advantage is by capturing different angles of a subject I'm shooting in different ways than I would with a fixed focal length. I showed you some examples in the beginning of this video of the Ben Franklin Bridge, which were shot well over a year ago, so I figured I would go back to that bridge and show you guys exactly what I mean. So in these few opening shots as I approach the bridge, I'm using full field of view to give the viewer a sense of just how large the bridge is and just how high it sits over the water. But moving on, I transition into using a mixture of shots taken with the high quality shooting mode to show off smaller portions of the bridge. This decreased field of view lets me get closer to the structure to show off the traffic passing by, different portions of the bridge like different architectural pieces, and of course it'll make it look like I'm flying even closer to that train that crosses this bridge, which I pretty much show off in every single video because this is one of my favorite spots to shoot. Now, I even go as far as incorporating some different elements of the background into my shot, like the skyline here of Philadelphia, and as I spin around this bridge, there's really no way you could get this same feel or replicate this shot if you're using a different drone that had a wider field of view, or even if you were shooting with the Mavic 2 Pro in the full field of view shooting mode. Now, aside from utilizing these two different shooting modes to put together a cinematic video like the one that you guys just watched, I also use it when I'm working and when I'm putting together video for like real estate or construction. So let's say there's a real estate listing and I'm shooting a video of this home. I'll use full field of view in order to capture the entire home, to capture the yard, but then I'll tie that together with some shots in the high quality shooting mode in order to punch in order to pick up on some of the details. And flip-flopping back and forth makes it seem like you're actually using two cameras. Now, I know that there is a ton of comments about to hit this video saying, why don't you just buy the Mavic 2 Zoom? When in reality, the Mavic 2 Pro's camera is a lot better than the Mavic 2 Zoom's camera in more ways than one. But it's cool that you still can kind of get the same effect when shooting with the Mavic 2 Pro as you would when you're fully zoomed in with the Mavic 2 Zoom. Now, I don't think the focal lengths are necessarily exactly the same. Like, it doesn't match the full 48 millimeters when you're fully zoomed in 2 times with the Mavic 2 Zoom, but still, it's a really great feature to utilize. In fact, I wish they almost went a step further and allowed you to zoom in even further when you're shooting in 1080p. So maybe it would crop the sensor down just a little bit more to give you an even smaller field of view, or I guess an even longer focal length. But I guess they already do that with the Mavic 2 Zoom, and they don't want to give all of those features over to the Mavic 2 Pro. So anyway, guys, let me know what you think of this feature down in the comment section below. This is something that I really wanted to cover in its own video, because if you have the Mavic 2 Pro and you don't utilize this feature, I really would recommend you go out and try it. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed, and as always, I'll talk to you later. Peace.